this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Nibosi 2596. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Boderi Admiral GMT with an NH34 movement, and Gargo's wearing my Cadison C7063. Gargo felt bad for eating so many of the Frog Lady's eggs, so he sent her a nice fruit basket with an apology note. He gave specific instructions that the basket needed to be delivered in person and signed for and not left on the doorway because he was concerned about the porch pirates of the amphibians. All right, let's take a look at the watch. Comes in this Nibosi box. A Nibosi box isn't very nice. It's more of a throwaway type of box, not something you'd keep. I keep it just because I'm going to sell this when I'm done. But here is the watch. And it looks like I have the minute hand right over the logo. So let's move that. All right, there's the watch. This is the 5th Nibosi on my channel and my 2nd Nibosi automatic. Rather than a direct homage, this seems to be a mishmash of many styles. The tachymeter bezel screams Tag Heuer, but this is not a chronograph, plus the bezel rotates. The hands are more Omega Aquaterra with the arrow tip minute hand. I have no idea what inspired the rather busy dial. This is an automatic of an unknown caliber, as I can find no writing on the movement and no mention in the copy. One can only assume a very affordable Chinese movement with a day-date complication. It does hack. This watch comes in 5 different colorways. If you don't like the blue, there's also your typical green or black. Then there is also a two-tone in an all black. The watch is 43.6 millimeters at the bezel, so this is a big watch. 52.2 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links, thankfully. It's 13.2 millimeters thick, which isn't too bad considering the size of this watch. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 142 grams on the supply steel bracelet with 3 links removed. The bezel has a tachymeter, even though this is not a chronograph. And get this, the tachymeter rotates. So I don't know why you want a rotating tachymeter, especially on a watch that is not a chronograph. But the action is not horrible, considering the price of this watch. I felt a lot worse. There is a little bit of back play, though. But once again, I don't know why you would spin this thing. It's really pointless, but I'll go over the action anyway. And this, of course, the tachymeter looks a lot like a Tag Heuer Formula 1 tachymeter, which isn't the best tachymeter. It doesn't have it has a lot of numbers, but not a lot of marks. Then we have the dial. I like the inner dial. It has a nice sunburst effect, a nice deep blue. But I really don't like this re-hot outer dial, which looks like a just big, huge chunk of plastic. Then on the top, it says Nibosi 1985, and the bottom it says automatic water resistance, 3 bars, 30 meters. So you just get the bare minimum. And then you have, see, it's kind of messed up. You have the indices, and they're on this re-hot in some, except for at the 12. And where you don't have the re-hot, you just have numerals, and then you have leading zeros on them, though, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you do have the numbers next to the indices that don't have leading zeros. And then you have these minute counters. So it's just kind of a messy dial. I wish they would have just took this re-hot off and just had the indices, because this inner dial is very nice looking. And then we have the hands. We have a arrow tip minute hand. Once again, that looks a lot like an Omega. And then a Dauphine hour hand. Then the second hand is not loomed at all and no counterbalance. And then, as you notice too, there's no minute markers other than at the 5s. So when you go to set this thing, if you're not at a 5-minute mark, you're not going to set it completely accurately. And it's a pain to have to wait for the 5 minutes. Then we have the date at the 3, and this is a day date. And the second language is the Chinese. not Spanish or Latin or whatever. Or I don't know if this, no, it's not Chinese. It's just a bunch of lines. So I don't know what the second day is supposed to be. And there's no Cyclops, thankfully, because that would have looked bad. Then we have an unsigned push-pull crown. Crown action's fine. It's not loose or anything. I never really have an issue with loose crown action on an automatic, only cheap quartz watches. And you can wind it. It's a winding movement. And it's push-pull, not screw down. And you have significant crown guards though, so it makes winding it a little bit difficult. So thankfully it's an automatic. You don't have to do that very often. Then we have a flat mineral glass crystal. You don't get sapphire at this price. And then you have the case. The case is a chrome plated alloy, but as I always say, not all chrome plated alloys are created equal, and this is a good one. It feels really sturdy, substantial. It's got lots of weight to it, so it doesn't feel and look cheap. So I like this case. I think they did a good job with it. It's a big watch, but this case feels nice. It's a good case. Then we have the case back. We have a display case back, and it looks like it has notches for a wrench, but those are fake because you can see the real notch for the pry bar. So it's just a press-on case back. Then it says stainless steel back, which is a good tell that the rest is not. 3 ATM water resistant, automatic. And then we have the display, and it's tinted. Why would they do that? It just makes it harder to see the movement. So the whole point of a display case back is to see the movement. So why tint it? It's not like you're worried about sun reflection or anything like that. So that's just silly. Wish they would not have done that. Then underneath the case back, I do not know the movement. I looked and looked and looked, and I cannot find any writing on it. So I'm going to assume that it's a Chinese-made 3 Hertz movement. And that's all I can really tell you about it. So we'll throw it on the time grapher, though, and see how accurate it is. Here it is on the time grapher, and as you can see, this is running really, really bad. Plus 35, plus 38. Super duper fast. And the amplitude's really low, and there's a huge beat error, which is why you see 2 lines on the screen. So yeah, this movement is not running very well, which isn't that big of a deal if you're a watch collector and have a whole bunch of watches. But if this is something you're going to wear every day, then you will be setting it very often. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet does have solid inverted end links, so that's pretty good for a watch in this price range. And the links themselves too are solid, and they're pretty nice looking links. They're oyster style with the polished inner link. Then they're fixed though, they're not articulating. And we have push pins, not screw pins. I'm perfectly fine with push pins. And then we have a butterfly clasp. And that's not the best choice for this watch because this watch has some pretty big links. And there are no half links. And this is a big heavy watch, so you want the perfect fit. And you might not get the perfect fit. In fact, I'm wearing this watch a hair tight. But if I put another link back in, it'll be way too loose. And it'll be flopping all around because it's so heavy. So better tight than loose. But wish I could just move it back 1 notch and micro adjust, but you can't. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks nice, it wears nice. I removed 3 links to fit, and it's just a hair tight. I really wish I could put a link back in and then move it in 1 micro adjust, but I can't. And if I put another link in, it's just going to be too loose and it's going to flop around. So I'd rather have a big heavy watch like this too tight than too loose. And I have 3 more links to remove to go smaller. In my reviews, I'm going to start mentioning how many more links there are to remove. just because that one Nibosi President watch was such a disappointment on that front. Here we are in the loom room. This is a very affordable AliExpress watch, so we can expect very affordable AliExpress loom. As we speed up the time, we see a somewhat decent glow in the indices for a watch in this price range. Unfortunately, the hands are weaker and don't keep up. Since it is the hands that matter, this is a loom fail. What do I like about this watch? Well, it does have a solid steel bracelet with inverted end links. I like this nice blue inner dial. And the watch seems very well built and sturdy for the price. What are my gripes and groans? Tachymeter bezel on a 3-hander. This plastic rehaut, it would look so much nicer without it. There are no minute markers, which makes setting the watch hard, and since it's so inaccurate, you will be doing that often. And why put a tinted display case back on a watch? Do I recommend this watch? I'm kind of torn. If it wasn't for that plastic rehaut messing up a rather nice dial, I would say yes. But all that plastic gives the watch a cheap looking appearance, so I'm going to say no, especially considering how bad the movement is performing. However, if you like the look of it, it won't feel like a piece of junk on your wrist, so maybe you'll be happy with it. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Nibosi 2596, and I will be back with an unboxing. I have a few things coming in today. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel, and if you do like this watch, even though it has a big plastic rehaut, be sure to use my affiliate link and I will get a small commission, but those small commissions do add up. Bye.